Back in the studio, LinkedIn's George Clooney. Sean Ward is here.
But that's a high thing to say about yourself, buddy. Yeah.
No, that's you, my friend.
No, I agree.
That is you. This is the first episode we have recorded since we've announced that we're actually doing this. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. That is interesting.
What do you think about the reception?
Yeah, I think, people didn't tell us we're crazy, but I don't know. I don't know what I would have expected. I don't, again, as you know, I'm trying to figure out like where this goes, why we're doing it, how it all connects. I truly believe that I just enjoy doing it, the process of doing it. So that's like satisfaction enough for me. I'm learning a lot. I'm hanging out with you. It's really low cost family wise. I do this Saturday morning while everybody's still like groggy eyed and eating breakfast. So
that's right.
That's I get a lot out of it, and even if we never launch, I'm already getting a lot out of it. So yeah.
We have a niche, and this is what people basically were saying online. This is why I love the feedback that we got, and it consisted of, at least for me, it aligned with why I want to do it, which is like crazy long week, right? Cold calls, deals, complexities, decision making. Decision fatigue would be something very interesting to talk about, because some days at the end of the day, I literally can't decide where to eat because I've made so many decisions, and I'm just. And then you come into this.
6 weeks ago, we tried to do an episode of this on like a Tuesday night, and it was like 10 o'clock your time.
Oh, I was asleep.
It was terrible. That will never see the light of day. It was nighttime for me, and it was 3 extra hours of nighttime for you. That did not work.
I was in bed. I literally did it from under the covers, and I was. You were like, you look so tired. There's nothing worse than being at a meeting with someone, and they're like, "Man, you look so tired," and you're like,
"Yeah, no doubt,
this meeting's freaking ruined." But anyway. That's how I want people to listen. I want people to hear these conversations after 8 hours of cold calling, decision making, intense commercial real estate deals, and they're on a subway or in a car, and you got 15 minutes, and you're like, I'd love to hang out with these guys for 15 minutes, right? Yeah. We literally had people invite themselves on the show when we announced it, which was awesome.
It is awesome.
We've never planned on having a guest. But
yeah, we barely planned on having a show. Yeah.
So
can I just say before we dive in deep, I feel a little bit duped in that I'm wearing like Lululemon shorts and flip flops and a stinking collared shirt, and you're like t-shirt casual guy, and I'm wearing this because my wife said I had to look nice like you. So what?
I got a collar.
Like what? Okay.
This is soccer dad uniform right here for me.
Is that?
This is leave at the butt crack of dawn for soccer games in Louisville, rush back, jump on the podcast. So that's how you're getting
it. Works, man. Yeah. Yeah. You look very sharp. That's how you compliment people's looks in corporate America. That's how they train you. You have to say sharp.
I'm trying to dress down so that you and I can be more California.
That's good. We'll meet somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in West Texas.
Yeah. So where do we start today, Sean? Where do you want to start today?
Yeah, I don't know. I am a complete mess. I've got Santa Ana winds.
You got a lot going on right now.
Kids running in the background. I probably have a lag on my Wi-Fi as I compete with my children for it. I'm setting up outside. It's like a 30-step process to set up. I forgot about that. Yeah. I'm barely making it today. I got a lag on life. Yeah. I've got a spinning wheel.
I'm glad you're here. I genuinely, it's hard to give time to something. So we're here. We'll make the best of it.
No, I enjoy this time. It's the setup and not figuring out how to use my camera time. That was frustrating.
So I got to ask you, did you see my breakthrough video?
No.
Okay, so I'm glad you did it. Okay. I'm glad you haven't watched it yet.
I opened it and I got 30 seconds into it, and that's it.
I recently had a breakthrough. I can tell you if you'd like.
I know the gist of it, but why don't you tell all of us?
So, I can hopefully link this video, somewhere on this, but had kind of a spiritual, mental breakthrough recently. And I said in this video, it's like, obviously I know people that say that all the time. And it's like, well, what does it mean if you all are having a weekly breakthrough? But this is kind of like a once in a 5-year type thing.
Crap,
and it's
dude.
And it's stuck with me.
Let's go. Full download.
So
let's go.
I'm at this like leadership, 100 people from Lexington get invited to this sort of leadership retreat. I don't know what it is. I didn't look at it. Kind of like it's crazy leading up to that, deal wise, work wise. I don't even want to go, if I'm honest. It's like one of those things where I'm like, I physically cannot see myself being there all day. And my wonderful broker signed me up and said, basically like, you got to go. You got to, pour into yourself.
Thank you, Matt Stone.
That's right. It's Matt Stone. One of the panel speakers was Jim Tressel, who is the old Ohio State coach. Great dude.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him, to be honest. So,
yeah.
But this panel was chock full. It's like a 4-star general and some great guests. But anyway, he said one of the guiding quotes for his team was, quote, "Paradise is where I am," end quote.
Yeah.
So that's what he would tell players.
Yeah.
And that was early on, which started to stir, got me thinking. Then this guy, Andreas, started to speak. Here's his book, The Pope and the CEO. So this guy was a bodyguard to John Paul II. He's a Swiss guy. I actually bought you a copy. It says Sean. See
wow.
that?
Thank you, man.
So I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna mail it to you.
Wait, bodyguard, are those the ones that wear the uniforms designed by Leonardo da Vinci? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening on audio, you obviously can't see this, but it's like a kind of a jester-looking uniform or whatever that he used to wear.
Yeah. Crazy.
So John Paul II mentored this gentleman. I mean,
how's that for a mentor?
Said, "Hey, I'll be praying for you. I'm going to mass. Like I'm specifically praying for you." Like he told these stories. It was crazy.
Wow.
But anyway, long story short, because I could talk about this for 20 minutes, but his main thing was you can enjoy and find meaning in your minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day work, not just the result, because we are very biologically similar to animals, but spiritually, and obviously this is coming from a bit of a faith perspective, which people may or may not share, but I share, the same faith perspective, and you do too. And he basically said, like, we're similar to animals. Spiritually, we're totally different because God breathed into us the breath of life and invited us into his creative work. And so the work matters. Like the minute to minute work matters. Right. And man, I'm just sitting there in like a piano falling on someone in a cartoon. It hits me. I'm 100% outcome based. Oh, yeah. Like I was just like, oh, and I just saw myself grinding to the next outcome, grinding to the next outcome, grinding to the next outcome. Don't worry about the wind. I'll cut it out, by the way.
No, I don't. You said God breathed and the wind started, so there you go.
Oh, there you go.
That might
Maybe
mean something.
I won't cut it out.
Grinding to the next outcome. That would be a great title for a biography about my work life.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but yeah.
What's the danger in that? Like the danger is, I'm performance driven. I like to make paychecks. I like clients. I like done deals. I love it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest byproduct of it, and I'm curious as to hear your thoughts, of course, is it begins to reflect how you treat people, how you treat situations, right? And people become, a lot of times, a means to an end to get to where you actually just want to be. Sometimes they're helping you get to where you want to be. Sometimes they're in your way.
Yeah, it's kind of paired with this question of, if you had $100 million, what would you wake up and do the next day, right? Because you got to be honest, I'm not like waking up and cold calling to find a seller of a warehouse building.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So like, I 100% agree with you in shifting off of outcomes and shifting to the way you do things, right? And having that be the thing that drives you. So I get the way you do things. I just wouldn't be doing the same things if I had all that money. But focusing on the way I do things, those are where you take home those kind of like the moral victories or the wins, you know, that are unrelated to money. But I will confess, I am completely motivated by money in what I do.
Sure.
Like even with LinkedIn. I mean, I started LinkedIn solely so I can make the cold calls I was doing warm calls. That's it.
Yes.
Right. So I'd be lying if I said it wasn't money motivated by me. But I also know that doesn't fulfill. So I would just say I'm in a very much a gray space related to this whole topic that I think is super interesting. And I want to know, like, so what, I mean, what happened? It hit you as what, you were doing it wrong, or it opened your eyes as a different way to do it, or what was the revelation?
It was more like a warning sign. Like I'm not going to cease to be outcome focused or driven.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, that's what makes me good at what I do. It's what makes you good at what you do.
Yeah.
It was more of a warning sign that if you can just miss a lot of potential joy of the process.
Yeah.
And
yes.
You know, I asked this in the video, but the main question that Andreas encouraged us to ask and journal about was, and I really connected with this guy, right? So this is one of those things that, like, I really connected with this guy. There's 6-7 people on the panel. There's like 40, 50 tables. And they're going to do this little breakout thing where each of the panel members goes to a table. Of course, he walks right up to our table, right?
Right.
So I'm kind of sitting there like, I'm not getting out of this. You know, I mean, it's easier just not to go there. Like, it's easier not to have breakthroughs and deal with stuff, really. You know, you just keep working and bury it and whatever. And so when he comes to our table, he's like, hey, here's a question for you guys, super driven commercial real estate people. What's it like to work for you? Like, what are the top 5 things that comes to your mind when you think, what's it like to work with you or for you? And he said, whether that's yourself or not. Like, you might be answering from yourself because you're an independent contractor and you're technically self-employed. Like, you might be a terrible boss for yourself.
Oh, 100%. I always tell people who are trying to get in the business, it's like, you know, watch out because your boss might be a complete a-hole. And by the way, you're the boss, right? You might make yourself work 14-hour days.
It's totally right. So I asked some of my team members.
Wow.
And Rachel on my team, who I've talked about before, she was like, honestly, it's really fun. And I was like, yeah, but, you know, I kind of see what's up. Like, I'm grinding for the next outcome sort of thing. And
what did you ask? What did you ask her specifically? Because now I have to do this with my team. That's a brave thing to do, I would say. It's kind of gutsy. Because if the answers come back and you've got room for improvement, you better damn well improve.
Well, I have room for improvement. You do too. Everybody listening to this, you know, we've got room for improvement. And it's really facing those honest things that I'm genuinely wanting to do in life, right? So I'm not just this is not just bull crap for a podcast. Like,
yes, yeah.
One of the reasons I'm here with you is I want to ask those questions and genuinely bring about a better experience, mostly for my family.
Yeah.
And also the people I work with and the people closest. But yeah, I just ask them, hey, what's it like to work with me? Like, and be honest. Like, you can say, whatever you want.
I'm writing this down.
They don't work for me.
What's it like to work with me? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, brave.
And I just sort of told them, answer that question. And secondly, like I mentioned this breakthrough, which they I always, it's funny to them. I'm like, I had this breakthrough, and they're like, oh, sweet, tell us about it. I mean, I'm pretty boisterous. Like, I'm a pretty boisterous person. So, but anyway.
So there was no danger that they wouldn't tell you about it. They were always going to be telling you about it.
Oh yeah.
Or you were going to always be telling them about it. Yeah.
100%. They thought I was joking.
So pool guys are here. Ignore that. Wait. Okay. Dude. So
speaking of outcomes,
they said you don't want this outcome. I'm telling you. Yeah, you are fun to work with. And what else?
That's kind of all she said.
Yeah.
No.
Would you have to say, like, give me something? You have to give me something positive and something negative.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Some strength, some weakness. Yeah.
I should have said that. But I said to them, look, I know for a fact that one of the ways I come across is overvaluing the outcome. Because I'm obsessed. Like, if something's about to close, I cannot think about anything else, really. It's just like I don't sleep well.
Dude, you know what this is? This is like a call to live in the present, right?
Yeah.
I will say I'm always future focused. I'm not a guy who goes back and dwells in the past a ton, but I am a person who focuses on the future. And I always thought that was a good thing. I think everything in business and entrepreneurship and hustle grind culture says to focus on the future. And I'm wrestling with maybe that's horrible advice. And I've based my whole professional life and me as I start working on and by the way, I don't think it's horrible advice, but I'm just saying maybe it is. Maybe part of that is horrible advice. I mean, 7 Principles of Highly Successful People. What's that book? The Stephen Covey book, which I love. 7 something.
How to Win Friends and Influence People?
No, different one. It's like the 7 Principles of Highly Successful.
Okay.
7 traits. I don't know. One of them, I'm pretty sure it's number 2. It's like begin with the end in mind. So when you start something, think of the end and how you want it to look. And that's how I've approached my business. That's how I've approached my family. That's how I've approached my personal health and fitness, my everything, and my life, really. Like, okay, I've done exercises. What would you want your tombstone to say? Like, okay, you're 80 years old. What does the life look like? And then have that inform how you make decisions now. I think that's super valuable. I've again, based the direction of my life on that. But in that, I think I focus too much on getting to that endpoint. And as you grind through what we do for business, month to month, year to year, decade to decade, focused on that future goal, well, all of a sudden, speaking from my own experience, I've just missed 20 years of life of enjoying the ride.
I agree 100%. It is,
and I do it still. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you feel like you're currently divorcing yourself from hustle culture, or like, I mean, I'm same as you, love-hate relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I'll use it for everything that's valuable. And then, I'll chew the meat and spit out the bones. Maybe that's it.
Well, I love it. I mean, I love Gary Vee. Like, I love the whole media stuff, obviously, but
what I do wrestle with is maybe that is the highest and best recipe for success as a human is that what I just said, begin with the end in mind, hustle culture, work hard towards the things you want. On the just plainly human level, that's the best recipe you could follow. And that's on one side. The other side is I'm not just a human being, I'm a spiritual being, and I don't believe I'm here on earth just to maximize my human potential, but to grow as a spiritual person, right? And a lot of everything I lean into on the spiritual side, I mean, frankly, just you don't have to get much further than like reading the Sermon on the Mount in the Bible, Matthew 5, 6, 7, Jesus, the meat of Jesus's teachings. Or you could go to the Eastern religions. You could go to yoga, it all kind of says the same thing of letting go, stop worrying about tomorrow, focus on the now, because the now is all we have. Like nothing ever happened in the past. It happened in the present. Nothing happens in the future. It happens in the present when you get to it. So it's like I spent all my mental capacity building towards this future event. Again, that's a lot of human wisdom. And then I think the spiritual wisdom says that's not going to do it.
So how do you do that?
How do I do what exactly?
How do you focus on how do you keep yourself grounded in the present? Is there a Sean Ward practice that allows you to create that?
This is all new to me, just being quite honest with you. A lot of it looks like there's a couple things. I would say it's just like a change in inner posture. So it's like I tell myself to slow down, to let go. It's a physical feeling for me. I try and physically relax like my chest and my shoulders, because I find when I'm like so geared up and working on things or focused on a future thing, I get tense. I swear to you, I realized this for the first time a week ago, that I probably spend half of my working day with a clenched left fist. Why left? I have no idea. I have no idea. But then it's crazy. Like I realized, like, oh my gosh, I'm just like,
you're just ready to take someone out, man.
I'm tense. Yeah, and a lot of this is like, this was a huge revelation for me and my wife. It's like just thinking about fight or flight. Like in times of stress, my wife is flight, and I'm fight. I'm digging in. Wow. And our lives have been very stressful. And then just approaching work. I mean, you show up in what we do. It's a competitive thing. Nothing is handed to you. You have to go get everything that comes your way. You have to create something out of nothing. You have to be active and engaged. It's not passive. But I tend to tense up in that. And like, again, you could talk about spirituality or religion. You could just even talk about martial arts, or athletics. Mm-hmm. All of it will say,
that's right.
As you think and tense up, you're having a worse outcome than relaxing and flowing and kind of engaging a different part of your being than just your. Now we're getting into brain stuff, but like there's a whole part to it that sitting back, relaxing, and letting life unfold. Dude, okay. And now I'm rambling, but think about, I planned my whole life and I'm, gearing towards this outcome that I want at the end. And then it's like, dude, you sit back and think like, I haven't made anything. Like, okay, I got 3 kids. I haven't made those kids. Like, it's not like I formed the eyeballs of my kids and the heart. I mean, it's like, this universe is incredible. Everything is incredible. And it happened without any human intervention, without any plan on our end of like, here's where we're going and here's how we build it. Right. So then it's like, okay, do I lean back into just like letting life unfold? Because maybe that has a better path than the one I've picked and I'm working towards. You know what I mean?
I love that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It makes me think of this. I hadn't planned on mentioning this, but it's sitting right there. I'm doing I'll have to get some ideas from you. The video I'm most excited about for YouTube. As you know, I'm obsessed with YouTube. Yes. The video I'm most excited about is 2024's gift guide for the real estate entrepreneur.
Gift guide?
Gift guide.
Okay.
Which is basically an excuse to talk about all my favorite things, but it's going to be like, fellas, you're welcome. Not that there aren't ladies in commercial real estate. Obviously there are. I'm just coming from the male perspective of like, these are my favorite things.
This is like Oprah? Like the Oprah thing? I love that. This is actually helpful because we have never can figure out what gifts to send clients. So I'm excited.
Well, it could be client gifts. Like I can tell you my favorite bourbon is going to be a part of it. And I was looking for, like, the first thing is, I don't have one on me, but it's one of those laser pointers to measure distances. Uh-huh. That's the greatest stocking stuffer for the real estate entrepreneur there is, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dude, but that's like starter pack for industrial brokerage, They give you
Yeah.
that and a calculator with 9
Yeah.
buttons on it. Yeah.
But this is one on the list. And so if you're listening to this is Creating Trinity by Gary Chesson, who this is the story of a real estate entrepreneur's life, started in brokerage, ultra competitive, began to invest as well. Of course, at the end of his life, he writes that's so bad. He's not at the end of his life. He's like, he's running marathons. Gary, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I did not mean that. But as he's looking back on a career, because he's semi-retired at this point and just still doing the investment arm, obviously not brokering deal to deal like we are. It's all about friends. It's all about the process.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It has nothing, the closings are in there, of course, but it's like, it's all about the risk of like, should we partner with each other? Like, should we do something? In his, it's a tearjerker, man.
Wow.
Like they had one partner that passed away. So of the 3 that originally started it, one passed away like along the way from cancer.
Wow.
And, so it's like, and of course, so I'm thinking, okay, if I can't live my life where at the end it's like, here's a list of closings.
Dude. So you were having a revelation this week. I was having the same thing because I was talking with my parents who were late 70s. I was at their house.
Yeah.
And I'm asking them, hey, what's up with so-and-so and friends that, of theirs that I've known for decades. And some of these people were like big time executive people. Some were like big time in the church world, like senior pastors of big churches. These were like big time people, right? And almost all of them, and there's maybe only 3 couples I asked about, but actually all 3. Are they still living in so-and-so? No, they sold that house. They just live in a little condo. They moved to be near their kids and their grandkids. And I'm like, wow, all this building, all this striving, at the end of the day, you just kind of want to hang out with your kids and grandkids, which doesn't require a whole lot. Oh,
right.
It was
That's
eye-opening.
right. Yeah. I'm not going to stop being outcome focused. But I also don't want to live for that. So it's the best of both, and I think,
or maybe you shift the outcomes.
Yeah.
The outcome I'm after in doing this with you is to learn and to be creative and to like get energy from it.
Yeah.
Right. I am after those outcomes. If I wasn't getting that, I wouldn't be doing this. I never, never wanted to do a podcast, but it's
I'm
like
chalked up on energy right now.
Yeah, man. You've had more caffeine than me. Yeah.
Well, so to come back to what we're doing in the show, like you mentioned the phrase, which I love, ultra competitive. Like it's an ultra competitive business. And this is my invitation to the listener, because half the podcast or stuff that I consume, which I definitely am consuming more content than you. We've talked about this before. I'm like, I always ask Sean, do you know this guy or this person or this? And he's like, nope, never heard of him. Who is that? I'm like, oh, that's the most famous person on YouTube or whatever. Oh, okay. I didn't know. And it doesn't matter, obviously, but I think my invitation to the reason I want to do this is to provide an invitation to ultra competitive commercial real estate entrepreneurs or similar to say, like, come to this as a respite. Like, this is a place you don't have to be ultra competitive. Like, you can just hang out, I mean, you did.
How would you even compete in what we're doing? Who could be
If
the
this
most
was
casual? I mean,
if it was who could be more casual?
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm doing it better than you. I'm being myself better than you. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense.
If this was a typical commercial real estate podcast, and there's a place for these, and I listen to them. Okay, so I'm not saying that this is bad, but if we were doing a typical commercial real estate thing, I would be saying, Sean, tell me about this building that you worked on this week. What was the cap rate? What was the square foot? How's the market? their yada, yada, yada. And you're welcome to mention that anytime. Obviously, it's not like I'm not interested in that. But that's not our goal.
Oh, major full circle moment right here. And maybe we end with this. Dare I say, our clients don't care about that stuff either. Our clients are not focused on the market, the building, the cap rate, none of that. Like, they're focused on business outcomes. Like, how does these buildings affect their business? Or if they're investors, they're investing for a reason to support some goal in their life, which has little to do with the nuances of the Orange County industrial real estate market in the North Orange County subpocket for R&D buildings. Like, nobody, like, they don't care about that. It's like, does this support the goals of my life or my business? Does this help my business unlock something? Right? I do think we get too focused on things that our clients don't care about because it's just our world and our language. And yeah, that's interesting.
That is really interesting. I love that. We need to pick that back up too.
We will next time.
We blinked. We're at 31 minutes. We just blinked. I haven't even looked at the clock this episode. Have you?
No, I don't even know where the clock is. Sorry.
I mean, your pool boys are almost done with their.
How dare you? Those are pool gentlemen.
Those pool gents are almost done. And we just started this thing. No, man, this was cool. I appreciate you listening to my breakthrough, and I truly hope it does help someone.
I didn't dig in enough, honestly. I want to dig in more. Maybe next time
we will.
I like the questions to the team. Oh my gosh, self-awareness. This is all big. Let's keep going.
Oh my gosh, I'll just sign off by saying I'm probably the least self-aware person that you'll meet, but I am at a level of self-awareness that is beyond where I've ever been in life. So
you're aware
it's good.
How unaware you are. Yes.
And that's it.
That's it.
Thanks for listening.
So long. Yeah.
See you guys.